Hello my dear friends, I'm Corey and in this video I'm going to review ARGATORIA. My dear friends, do you know that 28mm isn't the only scale in which you can play a tabletop miniature wargame? You heard me right, because there are, and there were, a lot of tabletop miniature wargames out there that use miniatures in a 10mm scale. The two most famous war games that used miniatures in a 10mm scale were Epic 40k, which was set in the Warhammer 40k universe, and the other, my favorite, was Warmaster, set in the Warhammer Fantasy Battle setting. And now they are completely gone. Well, technically speaking, because Games Workshop is not supporting these games anymore, but thanks to their communities, very dedicated ones, these games are still kept alive and played today. But what if I tell you that out there exists a tabletop miniature war game in a 10mm scale that not only is supported, but is also very new? My dear friends, let me present you ARGATORIA, a tabletop miniature wargame in 10mm scale created and sold by Spellcrow. I've seen a lot of hobbyists talking about ARGATORIA recently on YouTube and other social media, and I have to say that I've been very curious to try it out, so I decided to buy the rulebook, which is very new. The pre-order for the rulebooks ended like 2 weeks ago, so I bought one, and I also bought a starter set for an army, in this case the Vendrell tribe. And so I decided why not to make a video review giving you my very first impression of the game, the rulebooks, the miniatures, especially the miniatures, because I have never painted something so small as a 10mm scale miniature, and I am very curious to see what my experience will be. And so yeah, let's go on the hobby table so that I can give you a review of ARGATORIA, both the rulebook and the miniatures for the game. Let's start with the book. It's a softcover book with a great illustration on the front that will introduce you to the mood of the game. The first pages of the rulebook give you an introduction of the game, followed by the lore that gave the origin of the world of ARGATORIA. Through the entire book, you'll find little snippets of lore that are really entertaining and will let you feel the vibes that permeate this world. In the rulebook are introduced the first and main 4 tribes of the game, divided into species. The first is the isolationist Sorgax tribe, a tribe of reptilian people characterized by being extremely elusive that gain strength from the fear of their opponents. They are the guardians of the Water Temple and are characterized by a beautiful range of cold colors like green, blue, and violet. On the other side of the spectrum, the Aurochs tribe is a reptilian warlike tribe that went nearly extinct but was saved by a legendary hero, the last son of the noble house of the Axars. Their skin color are also very different from the Sorgax, being mainly intense tone of red, yellow, and orange. The other 2 tribes are composed mainly by humans. The first one, my favorite, is the Vendrell tribe. If you have ever read and loved the adventures of Conan or Red Sonja, like me, you are going to love this tribe too. Hot-tempered barbarians who love to fighting and believe in strength and the power of steel. The last one is the Durandus tribe. These are barbarians mainly inspired by Norse mythology. Extremely faithful to the old gods, every aspect of their lives revolves around their devotion. They live in settlement near the mountains, and when they go to war, they are supported by fearful mages, wild creatures called Sasquatches, and feral clans of wild men, known as the Wolf Brothers. Now for the actual rules of the game. Unfortunately, I haven't played the game yet, so I can't say much of it, but for what I can see, the rules are very well written, and the entire rules section is 8 pages long, with everything that you need to know about the game, including magic and heroes' abilities. I also have to say that my favorite mechanic is the activation and turn sequence, which is exactly how I like it. alternating units between you and your opponent instead of moving and fighting with the entire army. But there's a twist. After rolling off to see who gets to start, the player who won must roll 2d6, and the dice with the smaller result represent the amount of unit that the player can use before the turn passed to their opponent. Really interesting in my opinion as a turn mechanic. There is also a section that explains in a very straightforward and simple way how to prepare, clean, glue, base and paint your models. Something that is both useful to those hobbyists that have just started and those who have already painted some miniatures, but not in such a smaller scale like me. There is also a big gallery of pictures with a lot of beautifully painted models and armies. The last section of the book contains all the stats and abilities for all the armies and units that I've showed you a minute ago, and also some maps set up to start your games. What I appreciate quite a lot is that for every unit there is a small section where it explains the color scheme of that specific unit, which I find extremely helpful. Alright, now let's take a look at the miniatures themselves. This is a starter army box that you can buy on the Spellcrow website. It will provide you with roughly 600 points of army and a great starting point if you want to get into ARGATORIA. Let me say that despite the smaller scale, the amount of details on the models are amazing. And the fact that these models are all hand sculpted make them look even more impressive. I know that at first it might be very intimidating to paint something so small. Trust me, I really didn't know how to approach these models since I have never painted something this scale. But actually, the fact that these models are so small makes it so that even if the paint job isn't super crisp and very well made, they'll still look very cool when put together in a massive army. It has also been kind of refreshing not to have to paint every single details on the model in order to make it look good. I always say that I'd rather have simpler model than give me more freedom of expression and difficulty, instead of having them literally cover in, most often than not, pointless and useless bits and details. Same goes for 10mm scale models. I just painted a couple of units and I had a lot of fun. They look very cool and I can't wait to paint the rest of them. So my dear friends, this was ARGATORIA. What can I say? Painting the model was a lot of fun, and even if at first I was very intimidated by the scale, I have to say that it was extremely easy and refreshing not to have to be careful on painting very sharp agile light and details and stuff like this. It was very relaxing. So yeah, I will definitely paint more miniatures for my army, and I will also have to buy a second army because I also want to try this game, and you can do that with one army. So yeah, I think I'm going to buy a Arox tribe army or Sorga. I don't know. We will see. There are also two more tribes that are available, which one is called Shil Morg and the other one is, which is kind of a druid army with a lot of animals and tree peoples and stuff like this. I will put the name of the army here, but yeah, this game is in development. A lot of miniatures will be added, more factions, more tribes. I'm really curious to see what the future for this game holds for us. And also, you will have to tell me down in the comments what you think about this game, if you have already played it. If you are about to play it and you want to try it out in the future, let me know down in the comments what you think about it. And also, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and go down in the description. There are two links. One is a way to support me, and the other one is my Instagram account. I don't use it very often, but sometimes I post things there, so maybe also follow me on Instagram if you want. And I think this is the end of the video. So my friends, I hope to see you the next time. I'm Corey. Ciao, ciao.